So confidence goes right along with feeling not confident, right? So any chance you feel not confident sometimes, meaning like you might feel like a fraud, you might be sitting and completely comparing yourself to other people as people or other people as coaches and practitioners, and feeling like you fail in comparison, that you are buckling under comparison, that while you're not feeling confident, you only see the roadblocks, all the things that aren't working for you, that aren't supporting you, that you don't have, and so on. When you're not confident, you can become your own worst enemy. So do you ever feel like that? Like you are just really going up against yourself in your mind, in your actions and everything. When you're not confident, you can also feel like you're losing your sight of your purpose. And sometimes you're not feeling confident because you don't know what your purpose is. So that's part of it. But you also could be losing sight of how you want to touch others. When you're not confident, you can start to feel worthless and ineffective. And so many times we could look at those things and we could go, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different ones that I came up with. And we can go in and we can go, oh my gosh, I need to fix those. And what I would say is let's use those. Like there's so many times that we're trying to fix the things that are giving us really awesome messages. Now, before I go into like how you can use those, I want to point out some things that I see around me, but I also was told. I've been in this industry now for, I think about 14 years, doing it full time, almost a decade. And one of the things that like got me into it was friends who would say, oh my gosh, you need to do this. You're the glue. You're the one we all confide in. Um, you're the one who brings purpose. And I felt totally confident and ease with them. But when I thought about charging money for that, I was like, what does that even look like? Because I know how to show up for my friends, my family, maybe not all of them, definitely my colleagues and my employees, because those were areas where I knew how to create a safe space for them and to show up and bring more out of them. Okay. I knew how to do that. But taking it from the realms that I was naturally confident in, and then to say like I was going to do it as a career, I needed something more. And these days, you can go just about anywhere and you can get like a, a certification. I saw one for $6 the other day, $6, and you're a life coach. Okay. I'm going to put my hand up. I've never done the $6 one, but I did a couple $100 one, and it was a day, half a day. And after that, at the end of that, I was supposed to be confident enough to go out and to help people and to charge them money. And I'm really thankful that I didn't feel confident, because to me, in order to feel confident, it's a relationship. You're allowing the other person to feel safe in the space with you. So to confide in, like I'm somebody that they get to confide in. And am I leaving a safe enough space for them to confide in that I'm going to also bring value to what they're bringing and they're confiding in? And at that point, I was like, I don't think so. Like, I don't like the difference between confidence and cocky is really important. In the world these days, a lot of times we think of what we see out in the world, which is like kind of beating your hand against your chest and like going out and being louder about something, almost pushing your energy into the room, taking up more space, and like being extroverted is supposedly confident. But to me, that's cocky, right? It is taking up more space. And there's nothing wrong with taking up more space. There's actually nothing wrong in like even praising yourself and saying, I've got stuff. But if you want to be in relationship with and to bring value to another, confidence tends to be quieter. It's the ability to not take up space and invite somebody else in. And to create a space that you invite them in that is safe. And in order to do that, I personally think that is really luscious and attractive confidence that pulls people in and says to somebody, you can come into this space, you can share more with me, and I've got you. It's not all about me. Because I already own the fact that I'm bringing and creating a space of value so that I can create safety for you, and then we can get to the results that you're looking for. So why I go back to it's really okay to not feel confident is because you want to ask the questions, especially as a holistic practitioner. What is the safe space that I'm creating and who is it for? And do I have everything that I need in order to really make it safe, not just for my client, but for myself? And if I don't have everything that I need, how do I go about doing that? Instead of grabbing the $6 certification or the couple hundred or spending a couple days doing something and then just feeling like, well, that didn't do it for me. And now I'm going to go back to my job, doing something that's not soul fulfilling. And I'm not ever actually working with clients, making money and everything else. And then I go and I listen to another person who promises the world, because these days, man, you can promise the world in what you're offering, whether you're a coach or offering certifications or whatever. And that's how you hook people in and you bring them in. I mean, these days you might see an ad out there. I mean, there's ads these days, lose 45 pounds in 2 weeks. I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure it's impossible to lose 45 pounds in 2 weeks, even if you stop eating. And maybe the only way to actually do that is to lose a couple limbs, right? Like if you lose a couple limbs, you might lose 45 pounds in 2 weeks. But to do it naturally or even with chemicals, not seeing it happen. So they promise that and they dupe people because it's a need that they have, but they've not created a safe space for results to happen. And they actually aren't with the person. So this is the other thing that's happening these days. It's like, where is the human interaction that other humans need? It's a pill or a coach that's like just putting videos out there, and you don't actually get to interact with them in order to say, well, what about this nuance that's in my life? How can I switch and change this little tiny thing? And how can that help? When you own the fact that your human interaction with another human can actually shape shift their life in ways, and you have to ask yourself the question, in what ways can I help somebody shape shift, right? And what do I need? So I'm going all the way back to my story. So, and then if any of this relates to you, like if you've collected certifications, hoping that those certifications were going to give you confidence and they didn't, and then you just had to go back to your job, put me below, whether you're watching now or in the replay. So anyways, so I did certifications. I did multiple certifications before I actually jumped in and did anything because I didn't feel confident at all. And at that time, I didn't realize it was because I didn't feel like I was going to bring value to somebody else. And I didn't, but I definitely felt like I don't know how. I felt like I didn't have enough tools, and I definitely didn't have enough time practicing the tools that they were like, I embodied them. It's like going to a class and you've never even seen a bike, you've never ridden a bike, and you're in the class for a couple of hours and you're like, okay, so now you're going to train a team of people how to do a marathon on a bike in Colorado up and down the mountains. And you're like, hold on, like I just met the bike, right? I've never even been, I got on it for a little bit. Like I don't even feel confident like going down the road on it. And yet now you want me to take people's money and train them on how to do this. It's good in that circumstance to not feel confident and to say that you need more. Like it's absolutely good to say that you need more. And so let me go back to some of these pointers that we were talking about earlier, and I want to talk about how to use them. I'm going to start from the bottom. You begin to feel worthless and ineffective. Well, I want to take you back to a time where you definitely felt worth, because you wouldn't even be just, what is it, exploring this world of becoming a holistic practitioner if there wasn't a part of you that said, I have value here. So I want you to, and so you can do some journaling about this. I want you to look at, when did I feel value and worth in helping others? When was I effective? And that doesn't mean that's how you're going to do it in the future. I just want you to notice like that existed in your life, that was natural. Okay. But I want you to go to the next step, and I want you to say, where would I like to bring worth and effectiveness? Where is a need that's out there that I want to move the dial on, right? Like I want people to feel less of this. I know that if I get into that, I want to make a difference. And that doesn't mean that you know how to make the difference, right? Like one of the things that inspired me ages ago was people committing suicide. And everything inside me was like, whoa, don't get into that realm. Like that is too big of a realm. Stop it, walk away, right? That's not meant for you. But everything in my heart kept saying, I want to make a difference here. I absolutely want that less people feel like they shouldn't, like they don't belong on this earth. Like I want less of people to feel that way. And that was like owning that, but not knowing how. Was the first thing that I did was I asked the universe. I was like, okay, did you put this desire inside of me? And that if you work through me, I can make a difference in this area. And then what do I need in order to do this more effectively and to bring more worth to more people? And that question and that partnership that I had with the universe began an exploration of different tips and tools and working with people in a different way than any of the certifications that I ever had. And I did long certifications and short certifications. I developed the Art of Being certification out of that desire to really affect people at a core level. Now, you don't have to have a desire to affect suicide rates, but you automatically do when you affect the core of a person, the beingness of who they are and how they relate to others and how they relate to their emotions, right? So it may not be a dream of yours, but when we allow people to know how they function as themselves and how to support that and to let them know that they're totally not wrong in how they naturally function, it stops people wanting to leave this earth. Not all of them, sadly, but as many as we can touch, right? So it said to me, I need to find different tools and techniques and methods. Even I made them myself. Like there's a whole year-long course that I've created that really shapeshifts people's lives. Not just confidence, but knowing your worth and knowing your value in this world. So starting off with feeling worthless and ineffective was really awesome for me. It was awesome because it let me know I want to help people who feel worthless and ineffective. I want to provide a space for them to feel safe with me, to find their worth, not somebody else's worth. And I wanted to make sure that I had value, not just thought that I did. That I wanted to know that what I was bringing would actually make a difference to those people. So the next one is lose sight of your purpose and losing sight of how to touch others. So again, confidence is interesting. I really believe it's a relationship with an environment and space and with other people. Here's an interesting little illustration. You could be, let's say you're going to your gastroenterologist, and he or she would be really confident talking to you about anything to do with the digestive tract. Obviously, I'm not this person. But if you came to them and you started talking about gynecological issues, they would lose their confidence and they would say, wait a minute, this is not a safe space to share that. I don't have the value and tools in order to help you or even to understand everything that you're saying. I might relate to it, but I don't have the values and tools in order to do that for you. And so I want to refer you out to somebody else. So it's really important to know that no matter who you are, you can be highly confident in certain areas and highly not confident in other areas. And that's very, very good. You just want to know what areas you want to touch others in and impact them, and where you naturally have purpose. So, like what I was talking about, those are two doctors. And you could just think, as a doctor, they should be confident in all the areas, but they're not confident in all the areas, and that's very good, right? Even if you go to a holistic doctor, they might, a holistic doctor is looking at your whole body, but they're not going to be confident when it comes to surgery, right? Many of them, I think all of them don't do surgery. So they're going to refer you out to somebody who does. They're not going to just jump into that. So knowing who you want to touch, knowing what kinds of things that you can bring worth to is actually something that is very important for you to get clear on. Becoming your own worst enemy. Rather than going into mantras or positive affirmations, sometimes it's really good to look at, like, what are the things that you're saying to yourself that aren't working? Now, I like to look at this and say, sometimes this is the universe bringing to me clarity of what my clients are suffering with, and it's not actually even my own thoughts and feelings. And then other times it's absolutely my thoughts and feelings. And that worst enemy side of me is actually trying to redirect me into an area where it would work better for me. And so it's okay if my mind is talking shit to me and saying, like, you're no good at this. Like, what I then do is I begin to have a conversation out loud, and I start to say, okay, so what is it? Out loud is really important, because when we're in the mind and we just do like this conversation, there begins to be a war. But when we bring it outside, we put the mind into observer mode, and we give it a different task, and the task isn't to protect. So we now say to the mind, like, okay, so what is it that you're saying that I'm not good at? And sometimes I'm like, is that true? And so it might be true that I'm not good at this thing right now. What do I need to support it? What would help me to be better at it? Or I might say, like, is that true? And it's not true, right? It might be like, oh, as soon as I said it out loud, I'm like, no, I actually am good at it. I just need to do it even more. Like I need to get in and like, kind of like riding a bike, get back on the bike and do it more because experience helps you to know it all the way deep down into your cells that this is something that you own and that you're a safe space for yourself. So I want to go back to the word confidence again. Confidence is the energy to confide in. And when you're confiding in, you're creating a safe space a lot of times for somebody else, but you also want to create a safe space for yourself. And so if you're not feeling confident, just know that you're not creating a safe space for yourself in order to be the thing that you're asking yourself to be. So how do you create a safe space for yourself in order to do that? Which might mean that you need to get more tools, that you might need to get into a course where you get to practice more. That it's not okay to just like fake it till you make it and ask people to pay you money while you're faking it, right? It's scary to me that we put that out there too often. Like, just jump in, you know enough, you've lived enough life experience and take people's money to do it. You would not be happy if somebody else did that to you. So how are you truly creating a safe space for yourself and how you truly creating a safe space for others? Your lack of confidence might be the universe saying to you, don't step into this place without making sure that what you're bringing to another person matches their level of investment. And how can you get the support that you need in order to do that so that you're showing up for others in a way that truly brings value? Now, the opposite of that, buckling under comparison and looking at the roadblocks, one of the biggest things I would say is set yourself up in a community that's going to give real value. Ooh, weird. Sorry, I touched my screen and now it's like adding all weirdness. Put yourself in a community that's going to bring you support and value, so that you can see your roadblocks as detours, that maybe you're going down the wrong road in the first place, or they're actually like ramps in order to launch yourself up into a whole nother stratosphere. And so, sometimes it's really important to look at that your lack of confidence is getting yourself a community, having more experience, jumping in. Sometimes I've felt like the comparison is actually telling me like there's a lot of people out there who are jumping in, taking money, and aren't bringing value. And if I slow myself down and listen to the frustration, what my body is then telling me is to step into the arena, because you do create a safe space in order to bring value to others and to really touch and impact their life. Step in and allow them to invest in themselves, because other people are going to shout and get like out there in the world and really take their money and possibly not bring the value or not even have the tips and tools and the methods that will help that person to shapeshift, to create a safe space for them. And then too many people are getting hurt and getting trauma from people who are willing to step into the arena way too early with not enough experience themselves, who aren't in alignment with the message that they're sharing. Like they don't even experience this. Like, I'm going to teach you how to ride a bike, but I don't even know how to ride a bike. Wow. Right. Like, there's something to that. So making sure that you're the living embodiment of what you're leading others. That does not mean that if you're helping somebody with confidence, that you're confident in all areas of life, but you know the safe space for you, and that you know the safe space that you can bring others into, and that you own that, right? I was working with one of my graduates, and she's going in and she has an art of being facilitator, and she's looking at who she wants to help. And she was like, oh my gosh, like, how do I do this? And I said, you can dial it all the way down to a really small area and look at how you want to help those people and how you already have the tips and tools, not just from the certification, but from your past, like from who you are. Who we are does make a difference in how you can show up for somebody. And so this client, graduate, really, I should say, has ADHD, has struggled to get out of the house in the past, needed to create a routine, and is now using all the art of being tools and methods in order to help people who are socially awkward, who are introverted, who don't have motivation and need a routine in order to create a foundation of support for themselves. Now, when we got into it, creating that routine ended up, you think, okay, well, you can help somebody in like a 30-minute session to create a routine. No. As we were getting into it, it was like, whoa, in order to do this, you're going to have to get deeper and deeper and deeper, because it's not like one size fit all. Like, you have to actually know, like, what do they want to affect in their day in order to create a routine. And somebody who's socially awkward, has ADHD, and also, sorry, I should bring in depression, can often even just need a routine for hygiene. There's a lot of suffering people right now who struggle to take a shower, struggle to keep their room clean, their house clean, to brush their teeth, and so on. And so that's one of the places that she wants to help people, is to create a routine so that they can feel clean, so that they can feel like they can feel safe in their own room and in their own home. That's the beginning of getting out of your house and creating connections, right? Is creating a safe space in your own house. So why I wanted to say that is, you can feel a fraud in all the other areas, but when you dial it down, you can bring value to another person in this tiny little area. And this tiny little area has a ton of people who would resonate with the value and journey and results that you could possibly be bringing. So I want to just go back and say to you, if you're looking to be confident, own the fact that your moments of not confident are giving you messages of how you could possibly gain more support. Ask yourself to really investigate where you're getting support from and make sure that it is going to give you the value so that you can actually get to the results. And then how are you creating a safe space for yourself and others to bring your own worth and effectiveness into the world? Thanks so much. Please put comments below if you have more questions.